Well, so we have to do the discussions now. We have in the studio the Executive Director for the Consumer Protection Agency. Well, it's not a state agency, right?
No, it's an NGO.
An NGO. Okay. Now, let's talk specifically about the current subject of consumer protection. Now, the focus now has been on telcos for some time, and I know that you've had a number of discussions on it. You've had regular programming on your show, the Capital Show, and I've watched you severally do all of the discussions. Do you say that perhaps consumers are not getting what they need to get from whoever is providing services for them in the telecom sector?
I would say the regulator is not doing enough, which is NCA. Because look, if NCA is pushing as a regulator, I'm sure the telcos would have been doing a lot better. I'll give you a typical example. As you and I speak, Vodafone has something called conditional sale, where Vodafone is, I would say, incognito, switching all their landlines to broadband. So you go to ask for a broadband, to ask for a landline, they will tell you there are no landlines, or unless you get a broadband. It shouldn't be. I am an example of that, and actually, I actually trapped them and I got them. I went and I said I wanted a landline. I moved from my office at Adabraka to Osu. They came and did a study. They told me that they don't have a port for the landline. So my request, unless I get a broadband, and I told them I don't need a broadband. So I said, okay, no problem. Went to NCA, reported, it's been about months, 7, 8 months. Then I went back and said, okay, I needed a broadband. Same building, same address. Guess what? They found me a port. I've gone back to NCA, still giving the telcos the free will not to respect
the consumer.
The consumers in Ghana. Vodafone will never do that in South Africa, Kenya, or Europe, or any of their recognized
areas of
markets. But why are we allowing them to do that in Ghana? There's something called caps, which Vodafone is doing. Vodafone cannot do it anywhere except Ghana. So that's what I'm saying. The NCA, the regulator, is not doing its job as it's supposed to.
Okay. Now, first,
I don't blame the telcos, because if you let me, I'll get away with it. But if the regulator is making sure that you don't get away with it, you cannot do it.
Now, if the regulator is supposed to make sure, and we know, well, there's a regulation or a law that establishes or give mandates to the regulator to do what it does, and is supposed to undertake due supervision of the service provider, then how then does a consumer demand his or her own bit if service quality is poor?
The NCA is supposed to be the middle person. He's not just there for the for regulation. He's there also to make sure that the consumer or the subscribers are also protected. So the NCA is like a referee, the middle person. So the question is, when the referee is being biased, the other team would always cry foul, and that is exactly what is happening. That is why consumers are crying. That's why I don't want to blame, quote unquote, the telcos, because if I come to your house and eat your food every day and you don't complain, I will come and eat it every day. But when you tell me that don't come to my house again because I don't want you to eat my food, would I come to your house?
No.
So that is what the regulator is supposed to be doing. And it's not just the NCA. All regulators in Ghana, I say they are not working. All regulators, when it comes to service delivery and goods,
the supervisory agencies don't make
it's
sure
very, very weak.
Okay.
It's very, very weak.
And the Consumer Protection Agency, how do you do the coordination in such a way that as you do your lead advocacy efforts, perhaps your efforts and the advocacy you're undertaking is also taken into account by those that you would want them to know, and then perhaps those objectives also will be fulfilled.
You see, let me put it this way. Every consumer wants value for money.
Definitely.
I don't think any consumer wants, if you say that I should get a cup full, I don't want half full.
They want value for money. So,
It's as simple as that.
does the service provider.
Yeah, fine. So when you and I have a contract that you're supposed to, when I pick up my phone and I dial and it doesn't go or it doesn't go through, I have a problem. Because when I signed the contract, you didn't tell me that, oh, maybe it will go through. Okay, if I know maybe it will go through, and you remember when they first came, they had a map that showed you where their strengths were. So if you are in an area that the signal was weak, you know that your area, the signal was weak.
Now they don't. They tell you they're everywhere.
That's what I'm under the sky, where there's a sky. Okay, but what I'm saying is...
But that's not true.
That is deception.
Yeah.
In marketing, it's called deception. It's as simple as that. But we allow them to get away with it because the regulators that are supposed to regulate and make sure that they don't get away with it do not do much.
Okay.
I don't want a situation whereby the regulator is tilted very much on the side of the consumer against the telco, or the telco against the consumer. I want the regulator to be in the middle.
To be the arbiter, to be to be the referee.
To be the referee.
What do you think is the current situation in Ghana?
The current situation in Ghana, as I said earlier, I don't think the NCA is doing too much.
Well, we do understand, but where do you think the tilt is? The
tilt as a consumer, I would say that it's not enough in my favor because it is my money. When the telcos are crying about their own issues, you see, the telcos are not crying about the fact that the consumer is being greedy. What the telcos are saying that they are paying too much taxes, they don't get licensing to do the work that they need to do, their cables are cut, there's theft and blah, blah, blah. That is outside the consumers.
Okay.
Yes.
For example, in the US, they have what they call an act. It's called the Consumer Product Safety Act, or so, or Safety Product Act. I think, yes, promulgated somewhere in the early 70s, and that helps to protect the consumer, make sure that the produce or the product coming from and services coming from wherever are safe for consumers to use. And we're talking about even these days in the provision of services also, the services are also safe and in the best interest of the consumer. The act, if you read it from the US, gives safety nets to the consumer and then sanctions to the service provider.
Thank you.
What happens in our case?
Well, it's happened before where the regulator sanctioned the telcos. I think a year or two ago, they've actually sanctioned them. But my only worries is whatever money that was taken should have been, you know, at the benefit of the consumer by either doing education, trying to educate the consumer to understand, okay, everything. But guess what? The monies were taken, and as a consumer, I didn't see how it benefited consumers in Ghana. Yes, when any service provider fouls or faults the laws in Ghana, they should be punished. At a certain point, we should attach prison sentence as well, because guess what? In business, and it's factual, if a company knows that he or she is making $1 million, and you find him or her 200,000, he will do it again because he has a profit of 800,000.
Yes, you just have to work the maths.
That is as simple as that. Whenever you see any company,
it's an issue of P&L, right?
Yeah. Whenever you see any company do a recall, not because they like the people, because they know that the liability is bigger than the profit.
So when you see Toyota, for example,
doing the recall, and then recently is it Ford doing the recall?
We've had GMC also doing it.
It's as simple as that. I mean, that is what happens. So you see, this is where the regulator should be more progressive. More say, this is the law, this is the rule. You go against the rule, this is what happens. It's just like you not paying your bill to the telcos. Won't they take your line off?
Definitely.
So that is a consequence as a consumer if you don't meet your obligation. So what is the
now in undertaking this very lead advocacy is the subject of the Consumer Protection Agency being an advocate. Then the regulator is the arbiter or the ombudsman or whatever we want to call it. Now, if we have closely an industry or a scenario in a country where we have the service providers perhaps not very close with the regulator, what happens in such scenario? How does the consumer suffer?
It is in the interest of the service provider to be law-abiding. It's as simple as that.
Well, they are law-abiding.
Well, if they are law-abiding, then I guess the consumer doesn't have a problem, because if the law or the agreement that you and I signed tells me that anytime I pick my phone, I should be able to connect. I should connect 99%. Okay, and then you don't even have the courtesy to even apologize by telling me, oh, I am sorry that yesterday, you know, during these hours, my lines were down. Lately, if you see, they are sending texts to tell you that, oh, we apologize for A, B, C, D.
It happens, but rarely.
Yeah, but at least it's a start. It's a start. What I'm saying is, what I don't like is when they disadvantage you, hour, 2, 3, maybe half a day, then they decide that they will give you 20 minutes. 20 minutes that you have to use on their network the same day. Come on now. That, to me, that is where that is where they are not being fair. At least if you give me that 20 minutes, let me use it how I want to use it. That is how it's done outside. Was it a year or two ago, this mobile network in UK, O2,
yes,
went
O2,
down?
Yes.
Okay, do you know what happened? They gave every subscriber 10 English pounds sterling to use anytime they want. Okay.
Worth of credit.
Worth of credit, or whether you can use it to purchase whatever. 10
if
pounds
you want to
credit.
trade with it,
They gave you 10 pounds credit. Okay. I'm expecting the telcos in Ghana, especially the world #1, which is Vodafone, to be doing things like that in Ghana. I'm not against Vodafone. I want Vodafone to give me the services that I enjoy.
Well, we do understand, but if you talk to consumers of telephony services in Ghana, Vodafone is not the worst.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying that. But I'm holding them. You know, reason because you see,
because we have other service providers like
you're not
Airtel,
getting my point. Airtel, MTN, like what this Airtel is doing. NCA should write them a letter. This changing of your voice. It's criminal. It's criminal. Airtel should not be allowed to do that.
You mean it's a security issue?
It's not a security issue. It's just criminal.
Okay. How does it become criminal when we have...
It's criminal when I don't know...
let me ask you. Wait, how does it become criminal when we have phones that have been introduced or imported into this country that gives you the feature for you to change your voice anytime you want to?
What I'm saying is...
Or that's a device.
What I'm saying is, I have two of them...
A service provider wants to provide that service for you.
What I'm saying is, I have a very modern and a very powerful phone. I have a very two, actually. That is how that shows how unreliable the networks are, because I don't need two mobile phones. I need one that should work. The question is, the device, if it's the device, it's a different story. But when the company itself is doing it, what is the terms of engagement between the issuance of licenses? Okay, all this takes to win this. They are not promotions, it's gambling. And I'm asking Ghanaians, with all due respect, do not engage yourself in these things unless it's authorized or in collaboration with National Lotto Authority.
Okay. We know that the law regulating issues of lottery in Ghana, and especially the ones that need to be undertaken by corporate entities, is all embedded in the law for the Game Commission. And we know that you need to get all these permissions.
It's not embedded in, it's not.
No, we know.
There's a fight, there's a turf war between NLA and Gaming Commission. I've been dealing with them for a long time.
We know that.
What I'm saying is, let me show you. You see, because in Ghana we don't do things right. Okay, the Gaming Commission should only be issuing of licenses. In terms of the modalities, how the game is, blah blah blah, should be under NLA. So if you don't go to NLA for them to tell you, or you tell them the platform that you're going to use, it is not right. Lotto is done, or whatever is done everywhere.
It's all gambling.
It is gambling. Don't get me wrong.
It's almost like just going to a casino in Las Vegas or La Palm or wherever.
La Palm anywhere and go and sit at the slot machine. But guess what? The casino is regulated. The casino, we know exactly. But when somebody goes to the gaming commission, they have the license to do
when
that. When somebody goes to the gaming commission and say, "Oh, I'm doing a promotion. I think prices I can maybe 100,000," and then he makes 1 million. How do you determine that the man has made 1 million?
How do you make sure he pays the right?
That is the thing. So that is why I'm not against the gaming commission. The gaming commission should be there to issue licenses when the person comes with documents that this is the platform authorized by NLA, and that's the way.
So in this instance, how are the rights of consumers abused in this process?
The consumer should just stop playing, because it is deceptive. You don't even know. The man tells you who is the host of the, is it the morning show here? Okay, 1, Roland. 2, Kweku Boakye. 3, Amasewa. And everybody knows it's Roland. And then you text, and then they tell you, oh, in the evening, can you tell me which lady also comes and does the PM show? No, you told me that who. The moment I text Roland, I'm a winner. You don't take me through other processes. That is deception, because you didn't tell me. They can even tell you that, oh.
After that, they give you another short code for you to...
it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. That is where the deception comes in. So the issue, I am saying that I'm not against because you know what? We need the money from gaming for development, especially the NLA. Do you know how much the NLA supports development in Ghana through Lotto? A lot. So to allow a private person who might not be paying the rightful taxes that is due you and I, and we engage them, it is not proper. I want them to conform to the laws and the regulations in Ghana.
Okay.
I'm not against, because guess what? I don't text because I know that the odds are against you. Let me tell you what, they will tell you that the chances, and it's a fact, the chances of you hitting the jackpot in America, okay, the chances of you being hit by lightning is more likely than you hitting the jackpot. And do you know how many, the chances of being hit by lightning? but the Lotto people make you feel like it's easy. No, you can be. The chances of you winning the Lotto is less than you being hit by a lightning.
So you don't like jackpots?
No, what I'm saying is that is somebody's forte. I'm not against it. Somebody can testify and tell you that that is how he or she makes a living. I'm not against it. Actually, we even have people who can read cards that sometimes the advanced countries like Las Vegas, you'll be thrown out because they know that you can read or you understand the mechanisms of the game. Look, the house never gets broke. The moment the house realizes that it's being broke, the house will make sure that you don't play anymore. It's as simple as that. Ask any gambler. Okay, and you see, let's not make it, let's shift from the telcos. Let's look at...
No, I just come into banking services.
Sure.
Etc. Now, so in this instance, how does the consumer then uphold his or her rights? That
is what they are regulators. The consumer's right is your money. If you don't play the game, let's assume that we all decided not to play the game. You think that whoever that is doing it would keep continuing doing it. Why is he doing it? He's doing it for money. So if the money is not coming, would he do it? If the man has gone and paid some licenses, bought machines, blah, 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 and nobody is patronizing it, it will die a natural death.
In banking services, just like in other areas like real estate, we've had difficulties. For example, a person is told, and clearly you're supposed to access certain services in the account, and then you're supposed to be deducted, or perhaps you have an insurance policy, you're supposed to be deducted, etc. And perhaps the deduction doesn't happen at the right dates, because perhaps there was not enough funds in the account. But then funding comes, let's say some few hours or a day or two after, the deduction is not made, or you don't have enough funds in the account, you're surcharged. And sometimes you're not told that these are the regulations that have been introduced before the surcharge. How does a consumer make sure that, well, these are the agreements you had with me, and these are the rights that I need to uphold?
Roland, the question is, any agreement that you sign should be explained to you. Okay.
But in our part of the world, we don't do that.
That's why I'm saying that the fact that it's not done. We all fought victims. They give you the paper, you are in a hurry to take the money, so you sign. You don't even read. What is even dangerous is what is called the fine print. The little ones that you can't read. That is where the clause and the laws are. Okay, so the question is, provided, as long as they provide you with a document, and you don't read, and you sign, the bank is not obligated. But ideally, you should demand that, oh, I don't understand this. Can you explain it to me? Or a good banker would take you through the process and tell you that A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so if you are not comfortable with E, then you might tell him, is there any alternative? Or can we do it this way? And then if it's agreeable between the two of you, fine. But once you sign the agreement, when they go to court, the court will ask, is there any documentation?
That is what will be upheld.
It's as simple as that. You know, so, I mean, look, legal documents are binding. I mean, or contractual documents are binding. Unless, of course, you can prove that either you were misled or misinformed. And that is the determination of the court. I'm not a judge.
In areas of consumer protection, your agency, which other known service sectors do you work with? Insurance, apart from banking, and then perhaps telecommunication. You undertake everything from insurance,
goods and service.
Goods and service. And so far, how do you do the coordination between you and the consumers?
Oh, it's just by, as I did yesterday, press release, communication through that. People call the office. People come for just even, I mean, I don't want to go to court. So I would rather tell you, like yesterday, I was so sad when a young lady calls me telling me about the situation where they think their loved one died because of negligence.
At the hospital?
At the hospital. Because apparently when they went to the first hospital, the person was not treated and they were sent away without any first aid and blah, blah. So I said, well, talk to a lawyer first. But if you want any other advice, I can also advise you on that. But as I am not equipped, let me put it that way. Okay, but I can because I have lawyers but I'm just saying that these are cases that would be a long process. I can only give you some of the advices that you need. Like I said, talk to a lawyer. A lawyer will be the person that will be able to give you your legal guidelines as to what he or she thinks is doable. So it's variety. People, it is funny. People call for all kinds of, you know, reasons, but sometimes they are even comfortable that you're able to talk to them and tell them that, okay, this is not what I do, but I can tell you, go and see Mr. Y or Mrs. Y. So that is basically, hopefully, we've actually put the bill together,
No, we do understand. We'll talk about the bill that is expected to be, if passed,
if passed, yes.
If passed. And sometimes, you know, bills
get bogged down for so many years,
yes,
but we hope,
yes,
inshallah.
There's always a hope. Why is it, in your own estimation, having been through this, this whole scenario for a number of years, you drawn the conclusion that perhaps consumers' voices are not heard? Why?
Because a lot of consumers are not informed.
They are not aware.
They are not aware.
How do they get aware?
By just you and I, what are we doing this morning?
The convo we're having.
Yeah, you know, basically, and even the company. You see, one thing that businesses in Ghana refuse to understand is the best consumer or the best customer that you can have is an informed consumer. When the person knows exactly what they want, what they are getting, there's no hassle. Okay, when I walk into a store and I know that I want this cup, and I know why I'm getting the cup, why should I hassle you? Why should I come back and say, oh, I'm not too sure? See, so we need to actually give the information. That is why, hopefully, I'm not very far. We're trying to put what is equivalent or what is a magazine for
consumer protection,
consumer watch.
Consumer
okay,
something that process.
Yeah, something that will tell you which of the things that we have endorsed, which of the things
some kind of Q&A,
yeah,
and some sense of direction, and give you some level of information.
Which company gives you the best, whatever that you want, whether hotel, whether the whole thing, so that at least if you want to spend your money, you know that when I walk through this business, I know I will get value for money. Not to go somewhere and somebody who does not even understand that the mere fact that I'll come to your restaurant and I'm eating, and let's say there's a string of hair or some stone in their food, it is proper for you to apologize and tell me, don't worry, even if you don't want it, I'll give you what is called an IOU. Next time, if you want to eat, come back here. We will give the food for you. That same person will bring 10 people because of the way you treat them. A repeat customer is the best one for any business. You don't want your customer to walk away angry. Do you know how many people that person is going to talk to? Like you, assuming you are annoyed by somebody by the mere fact that you think this is by the law or what. If you sit on this box, do they know the effect that it will have on their company? Same way, vice versa. If you came and they treated you right, and you sit here and you endorse them, do you know how much impact it will have on them? So that is what customer care and consumer relationship is. The consumer doesn't want to feel like he or she is taking advantage of the service provider or the goods person. Neither should the other person also feels like he or she is doing that. They said in Twi, now the moment I become aware or I get wise, then you've always been taking advantage. Then the game is over. Yeah. We don't want a situation like we should have a continuous relationship.
Yeah, it's true. Now, how closely do you work with these service providers? And so far, what has been the level of engagement between your agency, and the service providers? I mean, we're talking about cross-border service providers.
Some service providers are accommodating. So now what I've decided, I'll work with the regulators. Because if you advise the service provider and they don't adhere to it, the best thing is to go to the regulator.
Just because the field is not good enough, the regulation is not good.
Not because the regulator at least might be able to find some law or some
to pin them down to.
Yes, but the person can. But to me, you don't want. You see, this is what businesses in Ghana doesn't understand. Why can't you realize that it is in your interest to do the right thing? Look, I'm sure when you travel outside, okay, some of the things that the businesses do, you wonder, are they making money? Because you bought something, even let's say a shoe. You wear the shoe does not fit. It's tight because you're in a hurry to try it on. A shirt, you think, when I got home, my wife says this color is not me. They will take it back. As long as it's within a certain time, yes, they will take it back because
that has been stipulated. It's almost like a contractual issue. When you bring it before this time, we will give you this sort of warranty.
And even some people would even give, if they can't even give you the money, they will give you a note, which is called the IOU.
Yes. Okay. Maybe the next time when we have new collections or something. You
can come, redeem it
or something. Okay.
Okay, but we enjoy all these things when we travel outside. But guess what? They are richer than us. They are making more money than us. They are even giving some of the money to us. So why can't we do the same? And also get to be like them. Look, hotels outside. The mere fact that they even give you a room, which is a smoking room, and you are a non-smoker, would at least give you a free night. The airline industry. I mean, but they are still making money. Why can't we do the same thing? Here, Akotoka Airport, the airline does not even fly. Sometimes they will not even put you in a hotel. They will tell you, oh, as for you there, we are Ghanaian. It doesn't matter whether I'm a Ghanaian or a foreigner. Once the airline doesn't fly, everybody is entitled to everything. It's done outside. So why can't we do the same here? When I'm flying out of London to America and I'm inconvenienced, they don't tell me that because you live there. Compensation is cross-border.
Yeah.
But here, it's segregated, discriminated. That is what I'm talking about. It doesn't help business. Look, our advice businesses in Ghana, and this idea that we're talking about, the private sector is the engine of growth. If the private sector does not put the consumer in the middle of their decision, businesses will not grow. Because when the consumer does not come and spend his or her money, you are in trouble.
Yeah. That's pure marketing, right?
No, it's not marketing. It's commerce.
Pure marketing.
No, marketing is a different thing. This is the basics of commerce, and the marketing falls under commerce. I'm talking about pure ABC. I'm buying, I am selling, agreement. You don't have to put up a billboard. Okay, you don't have to entice me. You don't have to give. I'm just saying that I like this shoe. How much? 1 Ghana. Here, I have 1 Ghana. Simple. And then, because the shoe is very comfortable, I come back. Do you have any other colors in it? Because I like the way it feels. When you buy a shoe and the shoe is comfortable, don't you want to have another one? Because it's like somebody, Roland, we shirt here for Tao. Next time, won't you go to the same shirt maker and buy the same thing? Yeah, or even the same color? That is what is happening. In the other jurisdictions, they have people whose job is to even look at you, Roland, and say, look, let me know, Amazon, the online book.
The bookseller.
The moment they see that you bought a book, whether documentary, whatever that, they realize that Roland likes to read documentary books. The moment there's a new documentary, they will send you an email telling you that this one is in, because they want you to know that they care about you. They are thinking about you. When they order the book, they had you in mind. Why can't we do the same thing in Ghana? And the funny thing is, what I'm saying is, people that are in charge of the regulations, they travel outside. They enjoy these things. They see these things. The businesses, the owners. So why can't we import some of this? I'm not saying everything that is coming from outside is good. But let's try to import the ones that can work in our system. Okay. I mean, I know somebody will say, in Ghana, if you do that return thing, the average person will not return the goods because they like it. That is why they came to buy it. Yeah, you have some people whose idea is it's happening outside. Ask who lived outside. Our people, some of them, not just even the white people, the Americans and everything. Some ladies, their thing is every night that they are going to a club, they need a new dress. So what they do is they make sure they don't put any perfume in it. They don't remove the price tag
label
and everything, and then they take it back. It's just a small percentage. The average person, normal person, and there are more normal people than normal people, would not bring that dress back unless they really. So why can't we do this? There's something called the benefit of the sale. I used to do it. When I go, and I know that in America, maximum 2 months, there'll be a sale on the item.
Yeah.
So when it comes and I need my size, I buy it, I keep it because it's within the return time. If I have the receipt, listen, if I have the receipt.
And that's the agreement. If you have this.
Yes, and I go and I prove that, yes, this is it. They will give me the return in that full amount. Then I'll tell them, now I want to buy it at the sale price. But if I don't have a receipt and everything is intact, what they will do is they will give me the price of the sale. Systems are in place.
Yeah. Now then we have to talk about, we need regulation.
Yeah.
And the regulation will also mean that the consumer will need to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're putting together a bill, is that what you're saying?
It's already put together and presented to the minister.
What are some of the contents of the bill?
Basically, return policy, the contractual agreements, you know, you can, even the media, all these adverts that you're doing that is misleading. You cannot tell me that if I drink this coffee in this cup, I can fly like a bird. Nobody can drink this coffee and fly like a bird.
Well, it's only in Ghana that they do very deceptive.
That's what I'm saying. So all this. But let me say this. We do have some institutions that are mandated. Food and Drugs Authority, Standard Authority, Environmental Protection Agency, National Communication, Media Commission, Media Commission,
Bank of Ghana,
you know,
all those regulatory
all those things. But the question is, are they really doing?
Are they on top of their game?
Are they on top of their game?
Now, so following that, would need to adequately make sure that the advocacy is undertaken to make sure the bill is passed into law.
Seriously, because when you meet your your parliamentarian, or anybody that you think matters, even if you know the president, you know, actually I've written to the president hoping that he would very soon request the minister to bring it to the cabinet for them to discuss. I'm not saying that what we have presented is what is going to be accepted, but maybe they would add on or take away so that we'll have a very holistic consumer protection bill, which everybody in Ghana, including the president, also needs. You know, because I remember some time ago when I was complaining, and I think it was President Kofor. No, it was Vice President, late Ali Mahama, you know, my former boss. He was, hey, my friend, you, why you? I said, boss, let me ask you a question. Your phone, don't you get congestion? He says, hey, you see, me too, when I call, I say, that is why I'm complaining. I want your phone to be better. And he started laughing, you know, because you see, it's not just the average Ghanaian, it's everybody. You know, if you like things that when I advocate, people think I'm talking too much. Basic things like having emergency response team ready to assist people. Okay, I mean, some of these little things that we are hearing probably could have been saved. The situation, if it was different, could have been saved. But because we don't care, because we would rather put the money in other vehicles or other places that will benefit just the individual, but not the whole community. That is where the challenge is. So we should redirect, or you know, readdress, and then see how does it benefit a larger.
In terms of what the priorities should be.
Yes.
Okay.
Instead of, you know, giving somebody some 115,000 V8 Land Cruiser we could have bought 2 ambulances.
I do understand, because that is public money. It has to be used judiciously for the benefits of the public. I do understand that. Even though you individual, you can own your Land Cruiser because you bought it.
Because you bought it.
Okay.
I'm not against individuals.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when we give DCEs 2 vehicles.
You're talking about the priority spending.
Yeah, but can you imagine we can take 1 car from the DCE and
give it to regional hospital.
Regional hospital.
Or the district hospital.
Or
the community
hospital.
At the disposal of
yes.
for better use.
For better use of everybody.
The bill as it is, in this form or nature, doesn't take care of the institution for making complaints and reports, etc. Because, for example, in the Protection Act in the UK, we have an Office of Fair Trading and some other non-ministerial departments for which you can, as a consumer, especially if you're dealing with financial institutions and other consumable sectors, for you to make complaints, and your complaints will be adequately addressed. You'll even be given some is it some remittances, or how do they call it?
Well, in terms of refund or compensation or something like
some
that.
level of compensation.
Yeah. You see, we have also recommended that there should be a commission or a commissioner or like an ambush person. No.
Too bureaucratic.
No, it's not bureaucratic. That is what, in America, they have the FTC.
Yes.
The Federal Trade Commission.
Yes.
The Federal Trade Commission has the power of a high court. The Federal Trade Commission would take you on and sue you just like that. So if it's working in America, if it's working in UK, why are we afraid of it in Ghana? We just want people to do the right thing. Look, we've had so many cases that people's basic rights were not respected, okay, whereby some wrong leg is amputated and then the person is not compensated. Some accident victim.
I've worked on a story like that before.
You know, I'm just saying, so it is not proper. But you see, when you hold people accountable, people do better. That is what we should understand. It's not that we want to put everybody, but I'm talking about assuming you goofed on this show, and the audience are talking about it, and then Mr. Chum does not see that it is not in the interest of multimedia to keep bringing you back, that people will turn and watch another station. Then he's not a good business person. Okay, but Mr. Chum will tell Roland, next time, if you do that again, you're off. And then if you make sure that you're off, the next person that comes, hey, Mr. Chum, he doesn't play if you don't do it right. That is what we are lacking in Ghana. The Europeans and the Americans, they are no better than us. They are human beings. Actually, lately, we go to the same schools with them. Okay, we have the same degrees. We live with them. That's the reason why now the Black Star players, like the Muntaris and Asamoah,
they can't rap shoulders
because they play with them, they live with them.
The ego and
they are not afraid of them anymore.
Is all right.
No, can you imagine, like maybe 20 years ago, you have a boy like what is the boy's name? I like his name, Jerry Akamenko. I love his name. You know, see Ronaldo. He be like,
but now when he sees Ronaldo,
he doesn't give a damn about Ronaldo. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sure. So what I'm saying is, now that we are rubbing shoulders with them, we live with them, we do business with them, we work with them, why can't we sometimes take some of their good things and say, hey, we'll bring it back? The reason I came back with an idea that I learned in America from a guy called Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader is the father of consumer in America. So that's what I could have decided to be a businessman. Okay.
Yeah. But you know, the regulations, for example, the Consumer Protection Act of the United States mandates that all service providers, if it's automotive industry, or that's automobiles and etc., they usually like posting notices.
Warnings.
Okay, you call them warnings.
Yeah, alerts.
Okay, in our British system, we call them notices. Notices. Anytime, so you're supposed to read. So if you don't read and something happens, then you're liable. Then you're not liable. They are not liable. In Ghana, that is not.
But we should.
The bill.
Yes.
Does that take?
It requires all that. Look, you know, if you drive any American vehicle, if you look in the right mirror, it says that objects that appear in this mirror is closer than it may look.
That is on the rear.
On the right.
Yes, on the rear.
On the right.
Yes, the rear left. The one that you drive.
No, the one that, no, I'm not talking about, no, it's the right one that always says that. Because the left one is okay. It's the right one, I don't know how they do it. But they always give you a warning that if you look in that mirror, don't think the car is way back.
So which one should you need to look at?
You look at this one here. You know, so
they only tell you should do your own assessment.
Assessment.
So if there's nothing.
Nothing, you know, they
can be held liable.
You know, it's like how people would actually paste in front of their doors in America that caution, the floor is wet.
What is wet?
The floor.
Floor is wet.
Okay, here, go to most hotels. When they are mopping the floor, they don't even give you a warning. And then you slip because nobody will sue them. In the United States, oh, Jesus Christ, you'll be sued for anything. You see, that is what makes people accountable. You know that you are mopping the floor will be wet. Why don't you caution me so that I will walk instead of maybe trying to run or do anything that would bring harm to me? We should be doing these things. It is done. It's not that difficult.
Okay, then we have to wrap up our discussions. But in the meantime, how do you make sure that in this whole advocacy process or journey that the Consumer Protection Agency is embarking on within the law, you're also taking into account, because you are more of a pressure group or an NGO?
Yes, sir.
And then we have that linkage between a pressure group or an NGO that is serving the interests of the consumer in the private sector, or in the private capacity, and then the regulation is also, you are being told, you are telling me in the bill we have a commission that, well, would also take care of the interests of consumers. There's that regulation and then that linkage. And then in the third tier, the consumer or the service provider doesn't look too offended, but very cooperative.
We had a stakeholders meeting. We invited various stakeholders for them to take a look at it. We gave them the copies for them to, you know, recommend.
Okay.
The question is, the law is not cast in iron, or the bill is not cast in iron. At any given point, if we feel we need to amend, we need to change, we can do it.
Was your agency very instrumental in the the drafting of it?
Very, very much.
It was drafted.
It was drafted by a consultant, you know, that we.
Based on what preambles?
Based on his expertise as a consumer expert, legal lawyer, which let me say that we had a little support from a fund called BUSAC. BUSAC is one of these international organizations.
BUSAC.
Yeah, they also saw that we need a business advocacy group, you know.
Fund.
So this is where we've done a lot. We did the northern sector. We've done, if you remember, not too long ago, we were doing the media. Now we are almost at the end. So basically, all I'm hoping is, I'm hoping that the president would, at least it's for nothing, it will be a legacy to his name that it was his regime that the consumer bill was signed. But the question is, it's not just passing the bill. It's making sure that the bill.
I was just about to ask you about enforcement.
No, enforcement.
We've had the passage of a law, I feel that we haven't done well at all with the Disability Act.
Yeah, that's because the people, you know, I hosted the disabled people on my show last week. And I was telling them, they need to take the fight themselves. Because it is done in the United States. Every year, you see the whole United States, disabled people will march to Washington, D.C. on the mall and demand that policymakers make sure that whatever the law, you know, allows them or, you know, promises them will be delivered. So that is what we need in Ghana. Okay,
and lastly, before I let you go, on the personal level, what's making you do all this?
You know,
because I know you're a businessman.
You know, let me tell you what. I guess it's America. You always like to protect the underdog. And I have two sisters who are family members, but I say my two sisters who are also vulnerable, disabled, not very physically challenged. My sister I'm the third one walks holding her leg. I mean, we need to protect these people. I mean, they are vulnerable people. Any society doesn't take care of its own. It's not, a few weeks ago I did a show on the mental disorderly people, and if you listen to the Michael Jackson song, you know, the man in the mirror, if you look in the mirror, who do you see? You see yourself. But we behave as if, look, Dr. Kwesi would tell you, it's a thin line between insanity and sanity. But we see these people and we make them feel as if they are not part of us. But they are family members. We need to make sure that they are well protected when they are institutionalized. But in Ghana, you take them there, most people don't even go back.
So that's your passion?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Kofi Kapito, the executive director, and in this part of our world, Africa, we like a lot more of the positions. He doesn't mind about his position. He's a businessman, but a lead advocate of consumer protection here in Ghana. And I'm sure after he gets the bill passed into law, he'll try to venture elsewhere, West Africa. I'm sure he'll enter Nigeria. He'll go and face the bottlenecks there.
Honestly, the laws in Nigeria sometimes is even much
well, they are better, but they don't get better enforced than in Ghana.